So today we are going to start with the chapter 8 of your NCRT. This is the first chapter of your unit 3, that is cell, the unit of life. So now we are going to discuss about the introduction of the cell, and we are going to discuss about the cell theory in this video. So introduction of the cell, first of all we should understand the branch of bio which is dealing with the study of cell. So the study of form, structure and the composition of cell is called as cytology. That branch of bio which deals with the study of cell, their structures, their forms, their composition, that is called as the cytology. Fine. So we know that cell is a structural and the functional unit of life. Reason being because in unicellular organisms we have plenty of examples like amoeba is there, paramecium is there, yeast is there, bacteria is there. These single cell, they performs all the essential functions of life, and the single cell show independent existence. So because of these two reasons, because they show independent existence and they are able to perform all the essential functions, so we can consider that cell is actually the functional unit of the life. In multicellular organisms too, different kind of tissues perform different functions and have division of labor. We know that in multicellular organisms, being the more complexity of the organism, there is division of labor for the better efficiency of the organism. So if we talk about the discovery of the cell, Anton von Leeuwenhoek first saw and described a live cell. He was the person who was credited with the discovery of the first living cell. Then after that, later on, Robert Brown, he discovered the nucleus inside the cell. So here we are having certain pics related to the history of the cell. So this is the image of the Anton von Leeuwenhoek, who was credited with the discovery of the first living cell, as well as he is also considered as the dirty man of bio. Reason being, he was in a habit to study the dirty things, that he was in a habit to study the water from जो गंदी नालियों का पानी है. He studied the semen from the human body, and then he is considered as a dirty man. As well as this is his self-designed microscope which he used to study all the life forms. So he was credited with the discovery of the first living cell. Then, as we have discussed, Robert Brown was a scientist who discovered the first nucleus inside the cell. This is Robert Brown, and the Robert Brown discovered it in 1831. He discovered this nucleus in the roots of the orchid plant. There he discovered the nucleus for the first time, and this is the Robert Hooke, which normally students consider discovered the first cell. This is right, he actually discovered the first cell, but the first cell discovered by him was actually the non-living cell. So this is the honeycomb like structure which he observed under his self-designed microscope, and this picture is published in his book Micrographia. And he used the term cellular to describe the cell. That actually means the empty compartments, and that was right because these are the cells of the bark. Bark means cork of the plant. They were actually the dead cells, so that was right, empty compartments, they were like that. And he has discovered this from the bark of a tree that was the oak tree, and the scientific name of the tree is the Quercus subra. So on the Quercus subra bark, he discovered the first cell, but they were actually the non-living cells. Fine. So this is all about the history regarding the cell and the study of cell. Now let's come to the cell theory. So if we talk about the cell theory, the credit for the cell theory goes to the Matthias Schleiden and Theodor Schwann. These were the two scientists. Matthias Schleiden was basically a German botanist, whereas the Theodor Schwann was a British zoologist. They both were working independently, and the Schleiden in 1838 first of all discovered that all the plant cells, they are made up of cells and the components of cells. Similarly, in 1839 Theodor Schwann, a British zoologist, he also discovered, or he also concluded that similar to the plants, even in the plant animals, they are also made up of cells and the components of the cells. So later on they both put together their theory, and 1839 they prepared a cell theory. According to that cell theory, they said that all the living organisms, they are composed of cells and the products of cell. This first postulate was given by them, which we are still following. But the second postulate, which was given by the Theodor Schwann and the Matthias Schilden, that was actually that what about the formation of the new cells. So they said that the new cells, they arises de novo. De novo means they arises themselves. They were not aware how the new cells were arising, so they simply said the new cells are arising themselves. Later on in 1858, the Rudolf Virchow, he was credited for the modification of the cell theory, and he said omnis cellula e cellula. Repeating it again, omnis cellula e cellula. That means all the cells, they arises from the pre-existing cells. Fine. So this was the second postulate of the cell theory. So now these are the two postulates of the cell theory which we are following now. The first one is all living organisms are composed of cells and the products of cells. The second one is the cell arise from the pre-existing cells. So these are the two postulates. So let's take a picture of these great scientist who has proposed the cell theory. This is Matthias Schilden. He said all plants are made up of cells. This is Theodor Schwann. He said all animals are made up of cells. So they put together the first postulate of the cell theory. And this is Rudolf Virchow. He said that the cells come from the cells only. Thus new cells, they arises from the division of the pre-existing cells. So this is all about the introduction to the cell and the cell theory. So we'll see in the next video. Thank you.